And I know it's annoying that I have a microphone, but there's no way to record it if we don't. Can you, ooh. Is that what it sounds like during church? That bad? I mean, I've had a lot of complaints in the last week. Yeah, well, you're here. Yeah, we got a lot of complaints at 8 o'clock about the feedback, FYI, so there's still constant problems. I'll try to go over here. Yeah, I got a lot of complaints about feedback. Like, just FYI. Yeah, during the it was specifically in the sermon. Just FYI. Sorry. Okay. I'll try to make this as quick as we can, but I know it's been a long time since we have an AltarGuild meeting. Let's just begin with a word of prayer. Very Heavenly Father, I thank you for all these men and women who are willing to serve in this capacity. I just ask that you would continue to give them encouragement, know how much they are appreciated, and that we may tidy up our practices, be all on the same page so that communication can be clear, and that we can continue to serve you in the most greatest, humblest way in giving people your body and blood under the bread and wine for the forgiveness of sins, and administering your holy baptism. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so thanks again to all of you, as I just said in the prayer. I know there's people who are on vacation, traveling. You guys are an invaluable part of the church. I know it's a position that doesn't get much attention. I mean, if I have to do a YouTube video, I'm going to have to do a YouTube video. I'm trying to not have to do a YouTube video. I feel crazy when I'm talking to a screen. It makes me feel a little less crazy when I have people in front of me. Again, reason for this meeting, we haven't had one since September 17, 2017. And, you know, as a young pastor, that meeting I went into thinking, oh, this will be no big deal. And it turned into quite a big deal. And there's things I wasn't prepared for, and also things I just didn't say, hey, here's what we're going to do. So this is what we're going to do. It'll make everyone be on the same page. If you want to, ask questions at a later time, we can talk later. Also, for communication, moving on to the next point, elder liaison is Andrew Merritt. In case you guys don't know who that is, Andrew Merritt. So if you're ever wondering who's the elder responsible to the AltarGuild, it's him. It used to be Doug Peters, but he is no longer an elder. But he is now officially the AltarGuild. Do you call it the head of AltarGuild or AltarGuild chairman? I don't know. What was it when you were that? Were you just head of AltarGuild? What was your title? Okay. Well, we're going to call you the AltarGuild chairman. I know that's confusing because there's two different people, but most things should go through Doug. But if there's issues or concerns that elders need to know about, that's when you talk to Andrew. And then Karen is the honorary AltarGuild guru, which I know she's very upset with me having it on there. But if you have questions, she's been doing it so long that she can be very helpful for that. So I know you don't like the attention. I don't care if you get mad at me, but you are great at what you do, and we all appreciate you, and you need to just know that. So, yep. Okay. Shoot, I forgot to bring the AltarGuild manual. Doug, did you have a copy of it with you? And do you know, we need to just have this in the AltarGuild room. There used to be one. I don't know where it's kept. Does anyone know where, Karen, do you know where this has been kept in the past? This book? Just show them so they can see it. Yeah, it's the AltarGuild manual. It has...
You gave me a whole stack of stuff about banners, and there was one of these in there. There was an older one of these in there by the same author.
Yeah, well...
They're both in there right now.
No, we just need to know.
No, they're laying on the shelf right inside the door. Turn to your left. You'll see them.
On the shelf or on the counter?
On the counter.
Okay, they're on the counter. Okay, in the left on the counter. Okay, is that on the top? The top shelf? Okay, so just know that it's on, you walk in the door, on your left on the shelf. Okay, that is just a reference in case you had questions. Now with that said, I might as well go to number 6. I'll come back to number 5 in a second. Number 6, if you haven't seen this yet, and this is something that just, I don't think was communicated well when we first did this. So this is our official Zion Paramount colors sheet. So if you want to know what's the colors on a given day, go by this one. CPH gives it's much nicer than this because they have the technological abilities that I don't have to make it look nicer. The problem with the CPH one, number one, is particularly in the Epiphany season on the one-year lectionary might be only one Sunday, like it was this year. So it's weird to have green for just 1 week. So Epiphany on the CPH calendar has green during Epiphany. We're keeping it white. Historically, Epiphany was known as Gentile Christmas. And it also makes a distinction between the celebration portion of the year and the non-celebratory portion of the year versus the season of Christ versus the season of the church. So for Zion, it's easier, and it's easier for me to teach the kids that when they see green, we're in the Trinity season. So the only time you're going to see green is during the Trinity season. Advent, of course, blue. Now this will be updated because now we have rose color paraments. So I will update this. The easy indication in the past has been we have an Advent wreath. So when the rose color candle is going to be lit, that's when we'll have the rose color paraments. I'm working with Bob Lambrecht. I've got a model for Lent. We're going to hopefully have a Lenten cross next year that will go here. That it'll be the shape of a cross, and there'll be candle holders for each Sunday of Lent. So we'll have, violet, 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 rose, violet, scarlet. Yeah, because that's Palm Sunday. That'll wrap up. That'll get us through Lent, and then we'll have that stripped before Good Friday, or maybe that could be part of the stripping of the altar. But that'll hopefully be here for next year. So that way you guys will also have another indicator. Okay, we know the week of the rose color paraments coming up. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Were you here for when we had the rose paraments? Okay. So yeah, we'll have that again next Advent. Again, Christmas is white. All of Epiphany is going to be white. That way you don't have to be changing it more than necessary. Beginning with the Gesima Sundays, violet, Lent, violet. Holy Week is when we go scarlet, which those are still, I think, the greatest paraments ever created. Again, not maybe trying to embarrass you, Karen, but every time I show any pastor friends, they're just so jealous that we have those. Just because it just beautifully communicates everything of Holy Week. Because that's what the paraments do. I mean, they're teaching us. This one's just, but even the fact that it's a gold cross, that's the sign of victory, the King, our Christ is living. Every parament is teaching something, even with just the symbolism. Okay, let's go back to number 5. Holy Communion, again, 7 years ago, it was a different schedule, but it's pretty straightforward. Holy Communion at 8 and 10:30. Just assume, the sacrament's going to be celebrated on a Sunday. Typically, first Wednesday of a month, unless it's Advent or Lent, simply because during Advent and Lent we are doing different midweek services. This particular month, it's helpful we're having this AltarGuild meeting this month because normally we would have communion on the first Wednesday of this month, but since we have Ascension next week, we're just going to have the midweek communion service on Ascension. Yes, we could do it both. If you said it, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world, but this year it just works out because I'm going to be out of town anyway, Vicar Lee Compline. But yeah, Ascension, whenever Ascension is, we wouldn't have a Wednesday service that week anyway because we'll just do it on Thursday for the Ascension. Holy baptisms. This used to be a secretary's job, which when the new secretary came in, it's odd that she would be responsible for this. This is a great AltarGuild task, which is why it's moving to AltarGuild. Just look in the bulletin ahead of time to see if there's a baptism on that given Sunday. You can just look on the insert tab, it'll say baptism. And the candles and napkins are now in the AltarGuild room. If you walk into the AltarGuild room, are they still in that drawer at the end of the AltarGuild room on the right? At the end of the room. So they're still at the end of the room on the right in those plastic containers? Okay, so yep, they're still there. The candle, the napkin. Now, in the event that there is a special napkin made with the child's name on it, do you usually put that, you put it out on your own? Okay, that's fine, whatever, yeah. So just somehow if you're making a special one, just maybe communicate that to the AltarGuild team that month, just so they know. Okay, does that make sense though? The schedule, so yeah, if you guys just could look at the bulletin ahead of time, just see if there's a baptism. We've got 4 pregnant women right now, so we'll have, hope Lord willing, 4 baptisms. Well, no, you guys will be gone. So 3 baptisms. What? Now that would be inappropriate. You should have the pastor of where you are worshiping be the one to administer that. So. Well, we just did, and that's the answer. Okay. All right, next, number 7. This is just a couple things I've noticed in the last couple months. With refilling of candles, I think I know, well, the vents weren't on today up there, so that's why it was so hot up there. Even he was hot, and that's saying something. But the candles burn down a little quicker. The AltarGuild needs to just, I think you should just check them every Saturday just to make sure they've got enough. Is it oil? Is that what you call it? An actual candle oil? Okay. And then I talked to Karen about this. The amount of wick that needs to be exposed is 1/8 of an inch. If it's more than that, it'll burn really, really fast. If it's short than that, you won't be able to see the flame. Is that right? So and then Karen said that Doug has measured a stick. Where is, I know I have it on here, but. Okay, so yeah, that way if you don't know how to. Okay, right above the sink. And then the other thing I've noticed is sometimes the individual cups get left on the chancel table next to the lectern, particularly after the 8 o'clock service. So if you could just take them off, just so they're not up there, you know what I mean? So after the 8 o'clock service, yeah, and I'm not, if anything I say, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. This is just things we've observed that could just be helpful. Now particularly the candles, okay, if a candle goes out during a service, not the worst thing, unless we're on Good Friday. We kind of need those candelabras. And Holy Week in particular, so whoever's on during, Holy Week, particularly after Monday, Thursday service, check them just for the Good Friday services. Because if you haven't been to a Good Friday service before, that's the one where after each reading and hymn, we extinguish another candle. That's been going the whole time. Gary, that's been going the whole time. Yeah, that's been happening the whole time I've been talking. Yeah, it just progresses. Okay, any questions so far? All right, next, number 8. This is something that someone has mentioned to me I don't remember who it was one of you, mentioned to me several years ago, and I'm just asking you, as the AltarGuild, if you would be interested in this, of having glass individual cups instead of plastic ones. Functional reason, the plastic ones, this happens at least once or twice a year, particularly if we have visitors, where they don't realize that our plastic cups are stuck and they just shatter and it just makes a mess. And we just don't want to have that happen. I mean, it just happened a week or 2 ago. Yeah, Karen? We have them already? Oh, okay. Well, well, that's good. We wouldn't have to buy them. Would this be a problem for the AltarGuild? Would you be opposed to having these?
The only thing I think could be a little bit of a problem is that it's so small. The way I used to do it in another church, we'd wash them and put them on a towel,
To dry them?
and that's going to be a lot of cups for 2 services.
Okay. So just then that's why I'm asking you. Like that.
Room in there, because you're drying to do other things, unless you do the cups very last, leave them on, clean everything else up first, then do the cups last, and leave them there.
Well, how much work would that add? Like because I don't want to make this more work for people.
Yeah. Right. Let's take out different things getting out stuck.
Okay. What? Well, that's not going to happen. Like I don't want to take I know all the theological reasons. I know. I teach the confirmation kids this. I don't want to disrupt piety. Like, and this is something that for a vicar too. Like, if there's things, especially with communion piety, you don't want to be an offense to their conscience. So here's how I treat individual cups. My goal is I will just teach the chalice until I'm dead. Then in 2 generations from now, it'll just be such that everyone takes the chalice anyway, and you don't have to worry about it. So just don't take, I'm not going to take them away. Just not going to take them away anytime soon. So maybe in 30 years, but not a plan. It's not on my radar, just being honest with you. Okay. But okay, as for the AltarGuild though, if we did the glass, is anyone outrightly opposed to doing glass instead of plastic? I mean, I'm not going to be upset by this. This isn't something that I'm wanting to make a big deal about. Would you want to try it and just see how it goes? Okay, that's a good question. See, I'm just trying, I didn't think through that. That's why we're having a meeting, because I didn't think about that. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay, well, this isn't happening, well, okay, I'll think through that. That's not happening anytime soon. I wanted to bring it up to you and see what was your thoughts about it. Okay, well, in the meantime, so in my home church, the way they did it was after you took the cup, you put the cup back in the tray. I don't like that, because then it makes the people feel like they've got to drink fast, and everyone, consumes at their own pace. So I think it would just add an extra step. So you mean after you're dismissed, someone's standing here and they put it in? Is that what you're saying? That's a thought. Yeah, as soon as you have an acolyte. It'd be a better job for an usher, because we have ushers. Well, what about if you just had it on a stand and people could put it in on their own? When it's full? Yeah, well, that wouldn't be hard. I mean, that could be just an usher duty. Like, okay, he just goes in the AltarGuild room and pulls one out. Yeah, well, if you had it on the table, I mean, in all the years I've been here, that little basket has never been tipped over. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm just saying if we had a spot at the table, I think the parents have done a good job of teaching the kids not to mess with the cups. Like, I've noticed that. So, okay. How many do we go through? Maybe a tray and a half? A service? Okay. Again, this is all just good for me to process, think about. There was no agenda in this. This was me wanting to ask you what your thoughts were about it. So. Yeah. That's a thought. That wouldn't be hard to do. That's a good thought. Yeah, well, sorry. Well, we could, and we could just keep those empty trays up on the credence table, because the offering plates don't need to be separated, so that would be easy. Okay. But, Vicar, we don't go through more than 2 full trays of service, do we? Okay, well, I'm only asking about the 2 things, because if we had 2 on the side, that would be easy. You take the top one, and then when you got that one full, you just grab the second. Like, if it's more than 2, it just becomes the complicated thing of handling more than 2 trays at a time. But, okay, all right. Next, just this question constantly gets asked, because the Paschal candle is still relatively new, just to go over it. It's up there now, but the Paschal candle is, of course, the big candle. If you want to read more about this, the AltarGuild manual does a really good job of explaining it in 1 page. It's been misnamed as the Christ candle. But it's called the Paschal candle. And the reason why I emphasize that is because if you call it the Christ candle and you're going to tell people we don't light it all the time, that just communicates a problem. Like what? We're only celebrating Christ during Easter? That's not the point. But Paschal is the Greek word for the Easter season, because it's the suffering of Christ, the passion of Christ. Passion is the word we get from it. So we have it up there next to the candelabra during the Easter season. It is only up there during the Easter season. After the Easter season, as you all know, it goes here. And as I tell the acolytes, it doesn't get lit here unless there's a baptism or there's a funeral, which it's just a beautiful symbol. Now we leave it out because it's still part of the church, decoration, decor, which is why, by the way, anytime I can't remember in the past, there used to be a time where the font would get moved to over there, and I don't remember when. We just always want to keep the font here. It's just here or there, like visual to the people. Like we don't want to just it's just like we wouldn't take the altar out for any service. We don't want to take the font out either. So we'll always have the font present. Of course, at funerals, we have to move it, which is fine. But Paschal candle, again, I think everyone's on board with that. But it would just be helpful to me, just so you all know, if for some reason I forget to move the Paschal candle after Good Friday, just know that it's supposed to be in that position. Okay. Any questions on the Paschal candle? During Lent? It's here. It's next to the font. Yep. Yep. There was a problem with the wick. It actually was lit. You couldn't see it. So when I went to light it, it was already lit. Funny thing was after the service, the acolyte thought it was out because you couldn't see it. And after the service, it was normal. So we had to put it out after the service. So I don't know how that works. But that was the issue last week. All right, next. Okay, these last two things are towards the end because I know this could be the most complicated or requiring questions. Number 10, what to do with the reliquary after the sacrament. So all leftover, that's the word reliquary. It just means leftover. Consecrated host and wine blood should be either consumed, stored separately, or disposed into the ground. The question is always, what about the in-between services? After the 8 o'clock service, the reliquary host may be put onto the paten. So if there's anything left over so if you remember the ciborium, and this is all in the AltarGuild manual if you want to remember your terms. I know this is a lot of words to remember. Ava, this is fresh on your mind. The ciborium and the chalice look the same. So everyone knows what the chalice is. So they're both C words, ciborium, chalice, they look the same. The difference, in case you haven't noticed before, the chalice has the grapes on it, the ciborium has the wheat on it. That's how you know which one gets the host, which one gets the wine. So if anything at the 8 o'clock service, this is just the easy way to do it. If whatever is left, just put it all onto the paten. And the paten's the plate, so P plate. That's all I teach to the kids. It's a mnemonic device, right? So P, paten, plate. And then you can refill what hasn't been consecrated into the ciborium. And then that way, I'm not concerned about it because we're going to be celebrating at 10:30 unless there's a natural disaster. And if there's a natural disaster, we've got a lot more things to worry about, of course. So simple thing after 8 o'clock. Same thing I would say the same thing with the flagon, is just unless there's too much, you can just put the flagon into the chalice, and that way you can just refill the flagon, and we're just still keeping things separate until the celebration of the sacrament. The real question is, what are we going to do after 10:30? After the 10:30 service, whatever is left over of the host, Andrew Merritt we're working on purchasing what's called a pyx. A pyx is just a nice little communion vessel that we can just put the leftover host in. Do you have a question? I didn't want to move ahead. They should never go in the refrigerator? So where should we store them then? Should we buy something to store them in? Like, do you want to? So historically what it's called is, I'm just going to use the Roman Catholic word, they called it a tabernacle. I don't know if we have a Lutheran word for it, but historically that's, up till 1960, every church basically had one, unless you were, okay. So we could purchase something like that. Why don't you want them in the fridge? Just tell me. I don't know. Will it cause? And, okay, so what causes them soggy when they're on the altar in the summer? So it's just the humidity? Okay, so the best thing would be to store it, we'll I think that'd be a good idea. I don't. Okay. Okay, yeah, because I think it would be good to have it locked, because I just don't want to have issues of, we want to avoid scandal of any sort. So, yeah, I think the locked place would be, the issue, of course, is the refrigerator is not going to be locked, which is going to lead us to the next conversation about the leftover wine blood, which we don't have a word for that. I don't know why we don't have a word for the wine blood. But wine blood, leftover wine blood, individual cups, that can be easy. Just put them back in the fridge. That's okay, right? That's not going to be an issue. I know there's an issue with the cups expanding, but will it be? Okay. Okay. Well, okay. And then, but the other thing too is with what's left over from the flagon and what's left over in the chalice, pour into the ground. What's left over in the flagon, we should store that separate. We shouldn't put that back with the unconsecrated wine. I don't know how, that's the question. I don't know how AltarGuild has been doing it before. So you put the flagon in individual cups? Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay, well that's fine. I did not know that. Okay, that's great. That's great. I did not know that. That was a question I had. I always wondered, because we don't want to waste what we don't need to. When I say waste, like what's left over in the chalice, just pour it in the ground. As I said 7 years ago, I think I don't want to say I'm not a fan of consuming things outside of the divine service. In our Formula of Concord, there's an express command to keep the actions of the sacrament together, and outside of the use, it's not celebrating the sacrament. And I just think it's not I don't think it's a good idea to consume things outside of the celebration of it. So leftover chalice, disposed into the ground. I think the leftover flagon is great. Individual cups, that's great. I did not know that. So scratch what I had on the sheet. I'll update that and edit that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Perfect. I gave you the benefit of the doubt that would happen. Yep. Yes, and I appreciate that you all do that. And that wasn't on here because I know that's what you do, but in case someone does watch this, you were just saying that post-communion, when you rinse out the individual cups, you rinse out the chalice, you rinse it out into a basin, and then you take that water, wine mixture, and you dump that into the ground. And I think that's great. So yeah, keep doing that. I think that's reverent. Okay, so I'll just eat the gluten-free every time then, if there's leftover. Is that what you're saying? Because you dispose, because they will go bad? I'll just consume it. Okay, I will just, from now on, after 10:30 service, I will just consume those, so there's no issue with that. Because there's only 2 or 3 of them. So I'll just do that from now on. I thought you had said that, I just forgot about it. So I will just, that way you don't have to worry about what to do with the gluten-free. I'll just do that. Okay. And then other thing, baptismal water, we should pour that into the ground. Again, I want to be clear on this, that what we are not saying is that somehow the water has been transformed into something that's not water. No, it still is water, it remains water. The difference is it has been used by God to baptize somebody, And whenever God uses something, whenever God, let's put in quotes, touches something, it becomes holy. We see this in the Bible. We just did this in Bible study last week. Remember Isaiah in the presence of God. Woe is me, I'm a man of unclean lips. What does the angel do? He takes the tongs, puts the coals, touches his lips. Now he becomes holy. By holy, Christian understanding is now the forgiveness of sins has been received. Isaiah has been forgiven. He has now received absolution so he can be in the presence of God. God uses the water and the word. We just treat things different. The point here is we just treat things differently that God uses for his holy use than we do things that, with any other water, we pour it down the drain. It's still water. I'm not saying it's anything different. We're just in baptism. God has baptized that child, so we're just going to treat it differently. That's it. That's the confession we're just simply making. So I just ask, and I think this would be a great thing, by the way, if there is a baptism. I would encourage the AltarGuild, if there are kids hanging around, ask them to maybe help you, because I think that's, I just know that my own kids, when some of you have asked, they've really appreciated it, and I think that's a great thing to say, hey, we're going to take this outside and pour it into the ground. And it just teaches them, hey, something special happened here today. You know, a child was baptized. So, any questions on any of that? Okay. I have this cleanup protocol. This is in part this is from feedback from you. To just please make sure to wash the vessels after the day's use. Pour the wash basin, we already talked about that, into the ground after rinsing individual cups. And just kind of remember that the holy things of God should be as clean, tidy as possible. Everyone's got different cleanliness standards, like I know that, especially as you know, well, it's opposite in my house. I'm more of a clean freak than my wife is. Her threshold it's just different. You know, everyone's got a different threshold of cleanliness. And I'm just simply saying, all of us should have the highest standard for like the Lord's house. So if after an 8 o'clock service, I don't know how often you guys vacuum. Do you vacuum every week or not? Or is it once a month? Every week? Okay. If you happen to notice after an 8 o'clock service that there's, stuff all over the floor, it would just, just vacuum it for the sake of, if someone has a very high threshold standard of cleanliness, we want to be respectful of those people and just, try to clean up the best we can. I think the standard should just be the highest because it is the Lord's house and we just, want to be reverent. I'm not upset by, if I see a kid, a crumb falls on the ground, like I don't lose my mind over it. But, if it becomes a distraction, we just want to avoid that. I mean, kids shouldn't be eating up there anyway. That's not my point, but Now, did you have anything you wanted to add, Karen? Because I know that you are like the expert on, well, I get a wrinkle in my alb and you want to clean it. And I am just saying, for me, it doesn't, I respect your standards. So is there anything I need to add? That's my point. Are there any cleanliness things that you've noticed that we're not doing that we could do a better job of?
I think the tray should be checked. There is residue sometimes from my things still.
The tray. How do you wash the trays?
You take
Yeah, they do come apart. Okay. I see. I didn't even know that.
if there's wine that's spilled down inside it corrodes.
Okay. Okay. So the part that holds the cups just lifts out
Yes.
easily?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone just make sure you check that. Is that what? Okay.
But make sure it's dry so we don't get
Corrosion.
more corrosion.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. I didn't know that. Maybe this is a stupid question, but I don't know. Are all our vessels silver, or are they? Do you know what the material is? Are our vessels silver, or what is the? Are any of them silver? Okay. Okay. Is the chalice? What's the chalice? Do you know? Siborium. Are they silver? So okay. 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 So, but the individual trays easily corrodable. Then they're easily corrodable. Okay. All right. Okay. So just make sure you check that. Lift it. Make sure there's no residue, so we don't get. The hinge of the top of the flagon? Okay, what am I?
That pin that holds that hinge together can slide in and out very easily. So if you, I just want that to go down the drain, but I don't know how to fix that.
Okay, so just, okay. Can everyone hear that? That the hinge on the flagon can easily come in and out, so when you're washing it, just be careful, because if we lose that pin, that could be a problem. We won't have a lid anymore. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm learning. That's good to know. Okay. All right, last thing, is there anything that the guild, elders, pastor can do better with communication on these things? And that question, and then also, I don't remember who talked to me about it, but I know that supposedly there's a better way to do flower orders that's easier, or is that just, I mean, should this be discussed here, or is this something that you could, I don't remember what it was. Any questions or anything that we could do better with communicating?
I don't, the thing that bothers me is that the flowers are absolutely beautiful, they're downstairs left, and they just wilt. And if there's any way that somebody could take them, not really picked out by those who purchase them, that they can, I know when my neighbor was really ill and there were flowers that you could like, I do take care of them.
Okay, well, the way we fix that is that if you sign up for flowers, there just needs to be a line saying, I want to keep them, or I don't want them. That would just be easy. That way we know, Karen Glass ordered 2 flowers, she doesn't want to keep them, so we know when we take them off the altar that we can give, anyone is free to take them. And the whole delivering them to shut-ins, I am never going to remember to do that. And they will sit in my car and they will wilt faster in there. So the only way I'm going to remember to take something to shut-ins is if it stays in my car, and then it's Lord willing I remember that they're in my car. So I just don't want, I will not remember to do that. So, okay, but as for, anything else? Yeah, Kate? It's too complicated? Okay. 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 Well, that's good. I never touched anything because I didn't want to take something that I get in trouble for, or it was like a handwritten note from somebody, and I didn't. Well, what we just need is to have everything all on one sheet. I think we could probably do that. Just have everything organized and just have, but that's good.
And having the newsletters that we in there, or sometimes when they're in there, or sometimes when they have some
The newsletter's supposed to be in there, is it?
no, it is,
Oh.
but it's, that's an important key
To have.
tool
Okay.
to have in there. Yeah.
Okay. So, would it be, what do you need the newsletter for besides the hymns?
Well, sometimes it will indicate that someone's has maybe a baptism, especially if we come early before the bulletins go in there. Some of us look at it.
Baptisms are never going to be in the newsletter, though, because
But there's other special Sundays, other special.
here's why I'm asking. Okay, I'm asking because the document I send to the secretary and the organist has all the hymns, and my concern is that sometimes that list doesn't make it to the newsletter accurately. So what I'm saying is would it be more helpful for me to just have my sheet there that has the hymns? I'm asking, is there anything outside of the hymns that your newsletter uses? Okay. Okay, because if you're only using the newsletter for the hymns, then it would just be better for me to just have my hymn sheet, because then does that make sense? And the reason, this isn't a shot at any secretary, this is just a reality, that the secretaries copy and paste things, and sometimes it goes to the wrong Sunday, or the calendar doesn't get updated and it's the wrong Sunday of the church year, and it's an easy editing oversight that no one would catch unless you have my sheet with hers. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way you'd catch it.
I'll speak for our team. I know there's times when we schedule certain tasks that we get done earlier on Saturday.
Okay, well, I'll just ask the secretary to put the sheet that I send on the table, and that way you have it, because that's always edited. Because do you understand what I'm saying? It's just a matter of, it's like, why, just take the original document, that way in case there's an error, it doesn't mess you guys up. Okay, I will. Yep.
Part of that is board with all the papers on, this is where this should go, but you know, when you get there, you walk in and out of it, your hands and where hands on one board, left hand up the corner, right up. Anybody walk in and here's the hands going to go on, what's happening. You know, I know that, and I don't pay attention to that board because, I don't know, there's thousands of pages here that's useless for.
Yeah, that's what Kate was saying. Okay, well, okay. So I send the hymns to the secretary by the season. I don't send them by the month. So I send her the whole Easter season, and that way we'll just it'll be a hymns, an Easter season document. It'll be in there, and then we'll have this thing updated up there, and then I'll see what else is up there, and maybe I can just work with Doug or Andrew, or if I'll take down what I think is not, and then you can all go, you tell me if something needs to stay, because that's just what I don't want to have happen, is there actually is something that needs to stay. Yeah, Karen? For Easter, or I'm sorry, for baptisms? Well, okay, so in terms of like the candle and the napkin and the ewer is the pitcher. I don't know. Okay. And where the stuff is. Well, that can go on the sheet of what you need to do. That can be done easily. Okay. Well, that's helpful to know. So there's nothing like that now? I just don't know. Okay, so we should probably have, here's what I think, we should have this is what needs to be done for communion, this is what needs to be done for baptism, this is what needs to be done for getting everything else ready, because like I just don't want the candles to be omitted. Like that has to be part of, so maybe candles can be part of cleaning and just administrative. So maybe just 3 sheets of those things.
We have 2 sets of candles. Now, I clean them, sometimes they get really nasty in there, but there's 2 sets. So right now I have some sets at home. There will always be here next week, there'll always be already wet, polished brass tops. So if a wick falls out or something happens when you're filling it, you can just go to those drawers, there's a drawer full of candles, and you can just remove it and just go.
The plastic bin? Yeah, so where the baptismal candles are. Okay. But they're in that thing. Okay.
There will always be, if you happen to just happen, that a wick will come out, whatever.
Okay. Well, we will, I think that's all good stuff. Try to get the sheets. FYI, my plan originally, the reason why this meeting has been delayed for a year or two is the original plan was I was just going to do really short YouTube videos for each of these things so people could just see it. I think we should do both, because I do think younger people want to watch YouTube videos. I do not put myself in that category, but just feedback I get, that's what they want. So we'll try to do both. It would be easy though. We'll get the sheet of all of what to do. We'll run it by all of you, because we're probably going to be missing something, because you do this, not me. What? Oh, banners. Well, so who does the banners then?
Try to find tall people here and there to do these, but we need to come up with a banner, especially these four here, you have to have a very tall ladder. These you have the pulleys.
Well, the banners, that will go on the candle cleaning page, I think, because that's more of like,
However you want to do it, but then you need to tell us about this, maybe some people are willing to do something, because I don't want to.
how often do the banners change? I don't know this. I don't. It's seasonal? Okay. Okay.
Sounds like maybe there's some organization that's needed for banners.
So that's just what, disorganized?
They're kind of like divided, and I just haven't got, it'll fit on that block. And
I don't even know where these are. Are these the ones down in the basement?
I just, if it's green, the season of green, then everything will be in there, the Reformation flag or whatever, then those banners will be in there. So it'll be kind of like color coded. I'll try and get that done within these couple of weeks.
Okay.
It just needs to have, let's say, I didn't want to put these up, so
You're tall, John.
yeah, well, I'm here and all that. But anyway, you just need to go down there and know, these go up here. This is now, yeah, just so it's kind of easy.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to work with someone with that, because I just don't know what's in there. So.
Go down and clean the room up and organize it. It's not gonna be that much work,
Okay.
you just need to kind of.
Okay. Well, that'll go on that sheet. Seasonal banners, because again, that wasn't even on my mind, so it might not be on AltarGuild's mind. Yep. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Isn't it the fourth Sunday in Lent where the cross is there?
Fifth Sunday in Lent, it's the Sunday after we have Rose. Yeah, and that is on, the veil, that's on this sheet, yep. And that's why I wanted to do one sheet where it had the ceremonies too, because that would not be on a CPH thing. So, yeah. Kate? I think that's Doug's job. So okay, Kate's question was, if you notice we're running low on supplies, your job, tell Doug that, and then his job is to get it. So just, well, that needs to be done there too. So that that can go on, the elder and the liaison, the AltarGuild chair and the elder liaison, that should be on every sheet. We'll just put that at as a header. That way, yeah, that's. Okay, if I forget to do any of these things, because I'm trying to remember these things and write things down and also listen to you at the same time. If I miss something on these edits that we do, just tell me and we'll fix it. I missed what you asked. The cups? Okay. So where are they stored now, what we have? No, like when they're here. So you just regularly check to make sure that they're, okay. Yeah, well, because,
Which is what my husband does all the time. We purchase it.
Yeah, and it's locked.
And he keeps it in the storage room in the office.
yeah, well, the problem is if we store things in locked places, then we can't get them anyway. So whether it's in that office or whether it's someone's house, you can't get it anyway.
So he checks and puts all of the wine.
Where the wine is kept in that room, is there room for other stuff? Because that would be the ideal thing, is to have, yep, it's got to be in the same place. We can't be having things all over. Okay, if we can have, yeah, I think that is a good point. Anything purchased should just be here at the church. And if we got a spot for you to keep it, because we don't want to have too much in there, but yeah. What I'm saying is keep all 3,000 here. You keep doing what you're doing, but just move it from that room to this room. That way, just because if something happens to you anyway, or it's just better to have it here. That's, yeah. Okay, anything else? All right, I will try to work on getting these documents together. I mean, you know, I will try to, it's very hard to write procedural things in tidy language and make sure everyone understands without me turning everything into a dissertation. So I will try to do that. That's why I wanted to do the video, because when I have a time and it's ticking and I know I don't have much time, it's tidy. I'll try to do just both, as I already said. But this is all good stuff. I hope this was beneficial to everybody. Yeah, well, thank you again for everything you all do. Very, very much appreciated. John?
Just to the AltarGuild, we all have managed to work together real good. Everybody's super good to work with. Whenever somebody's busy or tied up, somebody always jumps in. So we're a wonderful group of people to work with. Most of the procedural stuff is more like we just want to do it better. You know, it's not you might have to write. We all work with wonderful people to work with. Somebody's always ready to jump in and help somebody. It's not like somebody really has to write. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I wasn't alluding to any of that. I'm just saying I hear things and we're trying to make sure everyone's communicating. And I, just so you know, I am constantly, every time we get in a new member, I recruit everybody to join AltarGuild, because I think it's a perfect first way of service to the church, because it's behind the scenes, you're not just thrust in front of people, and it's, you know, it's a wonderful way to serve. So. I just try to be respectful of your time, like that's why, but, okay, okay. Okay, okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Thanks again for all your service. Okay, sure. We'll end with a quick prayer. You're right. That's the pastoral thing to do. All right, but we're going to close with prayer. Let's pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you once again for all the gifts that you've given every single person in this room, and I thank you for their willingness to serve in this capacity. And I just ask that you would continue to bless the congregation, enable us to be faithful to your word and in the administration of your sacraments, and also put it on the hearts of your the people that aren't here, who aren't yet serving in some way, that they would be willing to serve, especially in this way on AltarGuild. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, John.